Hey witches, this is Hectorios. Welcome back to my channel. I don't know if y'all heard the ceiling just pop 2 times, but it did. Um, if you've only been watching my most recent videos where I point out the popping all the time, uh, that's Hecate. Okay, she knocks and pops on the walls, and it's it's not like a ghost knocking on the wall. It's like an energy uh, that is bound to my aura. Her spirit, her presence augments my natural aura, my electromagnetic energy field around my body. It is augmented by her spirit and presence in me and with me, and that causes a lot of different things to happen in the energy dynamics of whatever environment I go in. This popping and the knocking is just one of the effects, and it's not caused by anything natural, because the knocking or those popping sounds can happen on anything nearby me. It's not just the walls and the ceiling. This could turn around and make a popping sound. This bed frame, or the desk, or the laptop itself. She has tapped, um, different things on my dresser, like a candlestick, or, uh, an incense burner or something. Like there's different specific things that the energy affects, and there's no explanation for that scientifically of a natural phenomenon, because I'm very skeptical of things, you guys. And whenever this popping and the knocking started, I looked up, what can cause that. I mean, I already knew within myself that it's Hecate and the energy, but I'm still the type of witch that has a scientific mind. And before I accept, a supernatural explanation, I look and cross out all the possible mundane explanations for things, just because I am thorough in my practice and what I decide to believe in or not, okay? And so I looked up, what can cause popping and knocking on walls in a house. And of course I found, like, the house could be settling, or it could be temperature changes, etc., or like pipes in the walls or animals in the walls and stuff like that. But that only describes of a possible reason why the knocks and pops happen on the walls and the ceiling. Okay, I've never found any explanation of what can cause things and objects inside of a room, or even outside, to make popping sounds and dings, like as if something has knocked it or tapped it. And of course, aside from that, this only began happening when I started working with Hecate, with her Veve specifically, which is a sacred symbol that binds her energy into the physical realm. It's like a portal to her energy to the physical realm. Okay, and it's only ever since I started working with that the popping and knocking even started on the walls of my house that I've lived in for years previously to that, and it never happened. And aside from that, it follows me around wherever I go. The knocking and the popping occurs, and it freaks people out. I have Christian family, where in one specific instance, I was sitting in my aunt and uncle's bedroom, and I was making some of my wire wrapped jewelry, uh, sitting on their bed, and they started watching YouTube videos about, uh, that ridiculous, um, like Christian conversion testimonies where you have a satanic witch or high priest or something that converts to Christianity, and then they give this testimony of all of the evil and wickedness that witchcraft is and all this shit. They started watching YouTube videos about that. And of course, I'm a witch, and I was just like put off by that. And I didn't say anything though. I just continued to make the jewelry that I was making sitting on the bed. And, like about probably 20 minutes into that video that they're playing, it was bothering me because it was just such bullshit to listen to. How this person on this video was portraying witchcraft as like purely satanic and evil and stuff like that. And it was really bothering me. And yeah, I wasn't saying anything, but I was growing uncomfortable because I wanted to say something, but at the same time, it wasn't worth it to that particular aunt and uncle to say anything because they're like religiotards of Christianity. And so all of a sudden, the video that they're watching started glitching, and then it just paused. And like paused, like when the video is buffering and it has that little circle thing in the middle, it did that after it glitched a little bit, and it was just stuck like that. And of course they looked at me like somehow it was involved with me. And immediately after that, I was finished making the wire wrapped pendant that I was making all consecutively with this. And I took the wire wrap pendant and I set it into a Ziploc bag, like a little tiny Ziploc bag. And right when I got done doing that, I was preparing to gather my things and to leave the room, and the door to their bedroom like made a popping sound, and then it just opened up. And it was funny because they got scared, and they said that well, not to me, to my face or anything, or in that moment, I just gathered my things and I left the room after that happened. But I found out later that they had gotten scared, and they said that the devil opened the door for me because he didn't like what I was watching on the YouTube video. And I just thought that was hilarious, but also offensive because, Hecate is not the devil. She's Hecate. And, I was the one that was offended and didn't like what I was seeing on the YouTube video. It wasn't the devil. It wasn't my goddess. It was me that was offended and it was distasteful to me. And I'm sharing this story. This is not the intention that I wanted to do this video about, but it's a good point to talk about. When these spirits are with you, someone was talking to me or asking me about telekinesis before. And, the power of telekinesis, controlling things with your mind, moving objects or things with your mind. And what Hecate has taught me is that basically, telekinesis is real, but it's not how you think it is. It's not so much under your control as you think it is. or you would think it is when you're first getting into all of this practice of the occult. Spirit work. That's where your telekinesis really comes into play. It's your relationship with the spirits, okay? They're the actual things. They're the actual. Okay, I'll just turn the pop again. They're the actual being that is moving objects. It's not actually your conscious mind or your own consciousness. It's related to it. It's tied to it. Because the spirits understand what you're thinking. They understand how you feel. And they're in a relationship with you. And they react to that. So, when I was feeling distaste and offense at that YouTube video, and the fact that my aunt and uncle were playing that around me, knowing that I was a witch, it was affecting my emotions and my thinking. And Hecate, being aware of that, and also what I was physically doing was, making that pendant. She saw that I was finishing up. She saw how I was feeling. She knew what I was thinking about that video and that whole situation. And boom, right then, she opened the door for me to leave out of the room. In a way like that, okay? She was very aware of what she did and why she was doing it. And she also knew that in a secondary purpose, it was going to intimidate my aunt and uncle to a degree, like, teaching them a lesson. Okay? So, I've had several experiences like that, of objects moving and things moving. It's not just the knocking and the popping. Predominantly, the knocking and the popping on my walls and ceiling. That is what Hecate does when she is emphasizing either a thought that I'm having or something that I'm speaking. It's like when I'm thinking of different things throughout the day or what have you, she'll make a knock or a pop on the wall or the ceiling, either quiet or more pronounced, depending on how much attention and emphasis she wants to put on that thought or that feeling that I'm having. Okay, so understand how this works. It's a form of communication on that level. And you could actually look up, this is a documented thing that people experience in the spiritual community. It's a form of communication with spirits. Y'all can look up what's called the Fox sisters. They're to a large degree responsible for starting starting a revival of spiritualism and spirit communication in America. So y'all looked that up, the Fox sisters. They were able to communicate with spirits in their home by knocking and tapping on their walls. So this is a documented thing, and modern witches who are in the practice of working with spirits specifically, we experience the same thing. I have experienced Papa Legba knocking and tapping on things. I could tell the difference when it's him or when it's Hecate, because the knocks that Hecate does tend to be higher up on the walls and the ceiling, or just more louder. And the knocks that Papa Legba does are more like a tapping, and he does it more so on objects in the room as well. Most usually near his altar or on his altar with objects that are on there and things like that. So, this is telekinesis, okay? Your consciousness is connected to it. It's part of how this energy plays out and what the spirits do, okay? But you don't fully control it with your consciousness. Okay, so understand that. Another thing on that note, whether if you want to view this through a psychological model or through a model of spirit work, I tend to view it through both because they're obviously connected. Nothing that you do can ever be separate from your psychology. Okay, understand that on that level. So, no matter what you're doing with magic or spirituality or anything else, your consciousness, your psychology always has some kind of a part in that. Okay? So, to me, spirit work is a process of getting in touch with your own subconscious mind, communicating with it, and working with it and its power. Okay? So, in the psychological model, you could just look at this all as being your subconscious mind. Only in the spiritual model, you could look at this as just being the spirits outside of you. I see it as both because, like I said, even when I'm working with spirits, that's coming from me, that's coming from my psychology, my thoughts, my intentions to work with the spirits, and the thoughts that I form about what's happening. All of that is a psychological undertone to the spiritual work. So I view it as both. I don't see why people have to view it as one or the other. Telekinesis, as far as I'm concerned, it is a mental power. At the same time, it is spirits doing it for you. And it's not going to ever be under your perfect consciousness control because, the spirits are not slaves to you. They're allies. They're friends and helpers and guides, but they're not your slaves, okay? So, when you're in a relationship with another person, when your friends are best friends with them, and you see that they feel a certain kind of a way, you may have, to a certain extent, a reaction to that on their behalf. That's how it works with these spirits, okay? So, with spirit work and in the psychological aspect of this, I think what you're doing is you are learning and making conscious the subconscious part of your mind. Which I believe goes beyond you and your individual ego identity, and it is connected with the spirits at the level of consciousness itself. Okay. So, what Hecate told me is that it is the spirits that are doing the telekinetic powers for you and different things like that are happening around you in your environment. It's the spirits doing that. And of course it can grow stronger based on your relationship with the spirits. And when it comes to moving really big objects and some really, miraculous things of telekinesis, what Hecate told me is that, the spirits don't really do that unless it's a matter of life and death. if you're in some kind of really dangerous situation, it is more likely that that is when some kind of amazing telekinetic powers and movements will happen on your behalf and things like that. Because it takes a lot of energy for the spirits to move physical things. It takes an immense amount of energy for them to move things, especially when the objects are bigger and bigger objects. And so they don't really just do it fleetingly or for entertainment purposes or just to prove to you that they can move things. They don't really do it for that. They do it for what matters. If you're in some kind of life or death situation, they're going to help you by, moving objects or whatever, if that's associated with what you need help with. I've been in a circumstance where, like I told you, Hecate opened the door for me because she knew it was a bad situation that I was in. I've had a situation, I documented this on my YouTube channel already, where I said the title of the video, my experiences with the wind element or the air element or something like that. I shared a story in that about how I have a close relationship with the wind element, with that spirit. And there was a particular situation where I told someone, I was being testy pretty much because I was younger, and I did tell someone to throw a knife at me from about like 20 feet away, and they did. And out of nowhere, this giant vortex of wind literally came in between me and that person, stopped that knife in midair, and it just fell straight down. Okay? And then that vortex came to me, and I was jumping in the air at the time, and that vortex came around me and slowly set me back down on the ground. And 2 other people witnessed this, okay, who are actually in my family as well, my little brother and my cousin. And, that wasn't me. That wasn't my conscious control. My consciousness played a role in that, but the spirit of the wind is what actually did that thing, okay? So I'm just trying to get y'all to understand this, okay? When you're talking about telekinesis and that kind of a power, it's not really about, your control of it. What your role is in that is to build relationships with the spirits. And in so doing that, you will develop your subconscious mind, because that is where spirit communication happens and works through. So like I'm telling you, it's connected to your psychology, but it's also connected to spirits, okay? You need to develop your spirit communication abilities, because that's how you're going to build up your relationships with spirits. And once you do that, you are strengthening your relationship with spirits, and then they're going to start to be around you and become your allies and your helpers in life. Listen, for spirits on the other side, it is like, imagine walking around in this world, but no one sees you, no one talks to you, no one interacts with you, no one even acknowledges that you are there, okay? For the most part, that's how it is for spirits, alright? They're behind a veil in people's consciousness, that they're not even being acknowledged or perceived. Okay? And when witches come along and they develop these psychic powers and abilities and concentrate on being able to communicate with spirits and build relationships with them, you know, that is a big thing for spirits. They really appreciate that. And they will stick around you when you do that. Okay? And they'll be very affectionate towards you. It is a loving relationship that you build with them. And they will, to a greater or lesser degree, look out for you in your life. They will help take care of you. As much effort as you put in to building the relationship and to doing for them, you will see that same amount of effort back in your life when it's needed. Okay? If you really need the Spirit's help, when you're requesting it, they will help you. If you're just requesting their help, but you don't actually really need it, if you're just requesting them, oh, move this object, do this or that, but you don't actually need that for anything, they're not going to do it most likely, okay? But if you are in some kind of situation and you're like, let's say that you get in some kind of a car accident or something, you best believe that the spirits are going to be there with you, and they will do telekinetic things to prevent you from being harmed. Whether that, if that is like to miraculously hold you in place in the vehicle when you're not wearing your seatbelt or something like that, which that has also happened to me, or, you know, they'll intervene right at the moment of the collision and use their telekinetic abilities to lessen what the damage would actually have been. Different things like that, y'all. They can do some amazing fucking things, but it costs a lot of energy, and they're only going to do it if they really feel like they need to do it, okay? For the greater good of your life, or for your greater good in some way, okay? So I guess that's what this video is about. I didn't intend to talk about that on here, but I decided to. So I just wanted to share that. You know, if you really want telekinetic, I don't even really like calling it telekinetic powers, because it's not really. It's never really your power. It's the spirits. They will also act on your thoughts and feelings, so you got to be careful as well when you're doing the spirit work, because hold on, y'all. You got to be careful when you're doing the spirit work as well, because let me just give y'all an example. If I sit here, okay, look, I have built up my relationship with spirits immensely, okay? And it's no joke. It's very serious. It is more serious than my relationship with other living people, okay? Let's just be real here. That's how it is for me. So, I gotta be careful, because if I'm in a negative mindset, let me give y'all some examples here of what I'm talking about, why you need to be careful, okay? I was doing a demonic investigation, okay? And that is documented on my YouTube channel too. I was doing it with these two people that I didn't really trust already, and for some other things that was going on, which I'm not going to get into details on, because that's beside the point. But let's just say I did not trust these two people. And yet I was doing a demonic investigation with them. And at a certain point in this, I was standing in a room where I felt the spiritual activity was high. One of these people was standing on this side of me. The other was standing on that side of me. And I was talking to them about the spiritual presences that I felt. And I was also, feeling some kind of a way about even telling them about it, because I did not trust them, like I said. And, and, I was feeling that way. I was having other thoughts in my mind about these people. I was just telling them my experience, but I was thinking and feeling a certain kind of way about them while I was talking about that. And there was a moment when I gestured my hand like this, just like that, because I was talking about a spiritual energy in the room that I was gesturing to. But one of these people was standing on that side of me, like about 5 feet away. And just when I did that, that person flew back into a door, like very hard. And they said that they felt something not push them, but they felt something on the back of their neck, like an energy or something was sucking out their energy life force, and it pulled them back into the door. Okay. That's just one example of this type of energy. So you got to be careful of how you think, or what you think, and how you feel. Okay. When you develop these powers, you have to be very careful of you have to be very disciplined of your thoughts and your feelings, because if you're not, the spirits will react to that. That's how they work. That's why I say your psychology plays a role in it. Your thoughts and your feelings, your consciousness plays a role in what the spirits do, because they're reacting to you. So, it is a power in that way, in so much as you hold an influence on the spirits that you have built a relationship with. But they're the ones that are actually doing the work. And, all your role is to be disciplined in your thoughts and emotions at any given time. And it needs to be, constantly. Another example, I was involved with somebody, and like being really close friends with them, and okay, I'm just gonna tell y'all, it was the same two people. One of them I was really close friends with, and I think she was using me on a certain kind of a level, because originally I was teaching her magic and witchcraft, and she respected my guidance, but as time went on, she became more and more disregarding of it, and it seemed more like she was just using me for certain types of knowledge or for certain wisdom or magical knowledge, but not necessarily was she listening to the guidance and advice on, discipline and the inner work and stuff like that. Okay. Well, she would basically come around me often and start talking shit about people. But, she did it in a humorous way. So she was pretty cunning. I have to give her credit for that. She was cunning in how she used me because she knew that if she made it humorous, I would laugh at it and feel a certain kind of way towards, certain things that she was telling me about other people and stuff like that. And because I would feel a certain way or think something, there would be manifestations based on that. And she used me in that way because she would be talking shit about people around me, and I would feel a certain kind of way about it. I'd have feelings of disgust or like, laughing at someone and things like that. And like within a few minutes, she would suddenly get a text message. That person got in a car accident and broke their arm or something like that, okay? Different things like that. And so I caught on that she was using me after a certain amount of times of that happening, and I was like, what the fuck, this bitch. So I stopped entertaining those types of conversations and stuff like that. And I just, I just disciplined myself on having any kind of emotional or mental reaction to anything that she said on the level like that, because I knew she was just trying to use me. Y'all have tons of examples like this, okay? Actually, there's just a lot. I'm not going to sit here and break down each and every one. But my point is, be careful. Be very careful when you get to this level of power. When you have built a strong bond with the spirits and they're helping you out in your life and they're doing things based off of your thoughts and emotions to look out for you. Don't abuse that power by not being disciplined in it. Okay? The spirits love you unconditionally. And so that means that they're willing to do, anything for you. Uncensored, unmonitored. So you have to be the one that disciplines yourself in what kind of requests that you're making, on purpose or not. Anytime that you feel a way or think something, they're getting that information. Okay? And they'll act on it. If it's strong enough, or if it's a frequent enough thing that you're thinking and feeling, they will act on it. Because they don't discern whether it's something that you're consciously trying to manifest or not. So be careful with that, okay? Be very careful with that. This power is not a game or a joke. It is very real. You must be disciplined. Okay? And I'm just, sharing this with y'all from my experience, okay? So, once again, I guess that's what this video is about. It wasn't my intention to make this video about that, but apparently it needed to be communicated and taught. So, enjoy the lesson. Y'all let me know in the comment section if you have had any kind of similar experiences or any stories to share. I would be interested to see that or read it. And You know, if you found this helpful, please like and share. Okay, excuse me. And I will see you on the next video because I'm about to record what I originally wanted to record. Okay, blessed be.